the man who will be fighting Demetrious Johnson on October 7th for the flyweight title. Ray Borg is joining us right now. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. Really excited to talk to you. So first things first, how are you feeling? How are things after, you obviously fell ill in Edmonton a couple weeks later? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I came home, took some time off, let my body, took like about a week off, let the sickness pass and, not try to jump into training and make it worse. So, I feel really good.
Could you tell us, I believe this is your first interview since everything went down. Could you tell us what happened in Edmonton? What led to you having to pull out of the fight?
What led me having to pull out of the fight? I felt sick, going into the fight. And, as the days passed, my sickness just kind of got worse and worse. And, it came down to the point where it wasn't one of those sicknesses that you kind of just tough through, especially in a championship fight. As a high caliber as this fight was. So the UFC doctor came in, saw how sick I was and deemed me unfit to fight.
What exactly was the issue that you were dealing with? I heard that your girlfriend had some sort of viral infection and then you got sick and you were throwing up. Is that accurate? Is that what you were dealing with?
It's not that intense. It's not like, my wife gave me something crazy, but everyone at Jackson's, even, Greg Jackson himself came up to me and told me he didn't know, he don't even know how I made it to fight week because Greg Jackson was sick as well. And, my wife caught it before I did. And, just everyone at the gym was just catching, it was just the flu was going around. A lot of people were staying home sick. I think what really intensified it is a lot of people were also trying to push through it. And a lot of people were training sick. So, it was just the flu was going around here in Albuquerque, with the weather change and everything. It just so happened to be bad timing.
And by the way, I apologize. I said your girlfriend, of course, you're married. So we're looking at a picture of you right now wearing the wedding ring. So I apologize for that. At what point, like when you did this stare down on the Wednesday, when you went to the media day afterwards, when you went to the open workouts on Thursday, like were you just struggling inside? I mean, from our appearance, it looked like you were just kind of getting ready for a fight. But how crappy were you feeling internally?
It started off like, the plane ride over there, I was just kind of feeling like shit. My body was aching really, really bad. And, it was just really, really hard. And it was just kind of things like, all right, it is what it is. I'm probably just getting over, a tiny cold or, just the atmosphere change. And then, open media day wasn't too bad. I was feeling a little uncomfortable. And then it wasn't until open workouts that, open workouts, I felt like I was having to push through a hard workout. Like I felt like I was having to, it was one of my hardest training days of fight camp and I was having to push through it. So, it was kind of on open workouts where I was really like, hey, this isn't quite right. I'm feeling absolutely horrible.
So after the open workouts, that's when we spoke. What happened then? Because it was just a few hours later that the word got out that you had to pull out. What exactly were you dealing with?
What I did, man, after open workouts, after I talked to anybody, I went to my hotel room and I slept. That was a key thing on why I knew I was sick, because I know my body very well. And on fight week, I'm active. I like to walk around. I like to hang out. And just whole fight week, I just slept. And, it was unusual for me because I've never been like that. I've never just been so dead tired on fight week, And so it was like, after that, I went to my hotel room. I slept, woke up, started throwing up a little bit, feeling like shit. And it was just, it was then when it was one of those things that had to be called.
Were you at all thinking like, I can't believe this is happening to me. This is my big opportunity. This is my title fight. Please, can you help me? Someone up above the MMA gods. Like, are you thinking that way while this is going on?
Yeah, man. I mean, for people to say, oh, Ray pulled out of the fight, blah, blah, blah. People of the outside world need to riddle me this. Why would I spend 5 weeks, day in and day out? Everyone knows here at Jackson's and in Mexico how hard I work my ass off. Why would I spend day in and day out, nearly, just spending so much money on fight camp, working my body to the bone, training nonstop, not being able to see my family? Why would I go through all that just to show up to fight week and not want to perform? Why would I want to show up on fight week and not get paid for myself, my family, and, you know, and my future children. Like, why would I do that? So it was one of those things like, you know, shit, please, you know, please let this sickness pass. Please, you know, let me fight and get me medicine, you know, something like that. It was one of those situations because I would not go out there all the way to Canada. I had all my family fly out to Canada just to pull out the day before.
There was some talk, of course, I'm sure you heard this, that it was a weight cutting issue. Was weight cutting involved with this at all?
Not even a little bit, not even close, man. Weight cut was not even an issue. I have done way worse weight cuts. This was going to be my easiest weight cut. This weight cut, I went into fight week lighter than what I did when I went to Brazil. When I fought in Brazil and I made weight piece of cake, I went into fight week lighter by 2 pounds this time around than I did when I went to Brazil. And, you know, I used to do huge weight cuts back in the day when I first started. You know, when I first got into the UFC, you know, people remember I had no problem cutting weight when I first got into the UFC. And, you know, they have it on record. I'm sure that they have it on record on what I showed up. I used to show up at like 138, 137 on fight week. My first my first 4 to 5 fights, you know, in the UFC, and I made weight kick like nothing. I never looked depleted. I never wobbled on stage. So, you know, it was far from a weight cutting issue.
So if that is the case, and I certainly believe you because everyone around you said the exact same thing, why did you put out a statement saying that you were parting ways with Perfecting Athletes? If weight cutting wasn't a part of it, why even put that out there?
You know, with Perfecting Athletes, one thing people don't realize is it was far more than a weight cut. You know, my statement letting go Perfecting Athletes had absolutely nothing to do with the weight cut. You know, the women at Perfecting Athletes, they know their shit. They are so good at what they do. And, you know, they made weight cutting easy. It was far more in depth than what people really know about that I would not like to make a statement at this time about.
Okay, so you don't want to clear the air on that because when your team, and you said it's not a weight cutting issue, but you got rid of your, you know, nutritionist, your team that helps you with the weight cutting, it seems like there's a connection there.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, that's how it seemed because it was right after that we had parted ways. But, you know, people are just going to have to watch for UFC 216 to, you know, watch me make weight to show that it wasn't a weight cutting issue. You know, like I said, the issue was far more in depth than what it seemed like. You know, people to the outside world, only myself, my camp, and my manager know what really went on and why that decision was made. So, you know, it's something I would really not to touch base on, you know, at this time, maybe later on in the future. But, you know, just UFC 216, just watch, and, you know, you guys will see that it's not a weight cutting issue.
Will you be working with Perfecting Athletes for 216?
No.
Will you be working with another nutritionist for your weight cut ahead of the 216 title fight?
You know, I found it myself in a weird predicament. I found myself wanting to just do what I did to get to the show. And, you know, when I got to the UFC fights prior, you know, I knew my body more than any nutritionist did. You know, no matter how many nutritionists I've worked with, I know how my body reacts to certain things. And I know the way I can cut weight the easiest, the best, and the fastest. And I tried to complicate things by adding in too many people just to make things easier throughout my career. So, you know, as of right now, I'm just doing what got me to the show, doing what I used to do with a little bit of guidance under Clint. I can't pronounce his last name, but he is actually the nutritionist for the UFC Performance Institute. So, you know, just consulting with him, he's going to just kind of monitor everything, make sure I'm, you know, doing everything right. And, you know, I make sure I stay on my foods, you know, make sure the biggest thing is recovery after training, things like that. But other than that, you know, right now where my weight's at, I don't need a nutritionist. I'm just going to do what I've done before.
My understanding was that the UFC doctor was the one who said, you know, this fight isn't going to happen. It's you're not fit to fight. You're too ill. Was that the case? And what was your experience like working with the UFC when this was a very big deal. This was the main event. You know, refunds happen afterwards. What was the experience like working with them on this issue?
You know, it was great. It was my first time being in a situation like this, and the UFC doctor, he was just looking out for my best interest. You know, if it was a weight cutting issue like people think, the UFC doctor would have told Dana, and I honestly doubt Dana would even consider me ever getting a title shot if that was the case. But the UFC doctor was certainly just in it for the best interest of my health. He came in, examined me, deemed me unfit to fight, told me I was too sick to fight, that he couldn't, in good conscience, let me clear me to fight. And, that's what happened. The UFC has been great. They've rebooked it to UFC 216. And, big props to the UFC doctors because, all they were doing was looking out for my health.
I saw like a couple of days later, you popped up a little bit on Twitter during the fight card on that Saturday night 215. What was it like? Like going, I mean, I know fans can be ruthless and not really understand. I mean, you just said it yourself. Why would you pull out of a fight that you've worked so hard, you're not getting paid? Were you just getting bombarded? Did it make you change your approach to social media? What was it like getting on Twitter and seeing what people were saying about you and having to pull out of the fight?
At first it made me really upset. I'm one of those guys. I don't know if you've seen Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Have you seen Jay and Silent Bob?
Yes, of course.
At the end where they spend all their money and just go kick the shit out of everyone talking shit on the internet.
Yeah.
That was my thought process for about a day. And then I realized that, it's a fight game. I went on John Jones' social media and seen the bashing that he's get. Henry Cejudo, I don't know if you remember, but Henry Cejudo broke his hand or whatever against Sergio Pettis, and people were saying, oh, it was a botched weight cut. Fans, I had to tell myself that fans are going to say what fans are going to say. They're very uneducated. They don't really know what's going on. So in all honesty, I have something to prove, October 7th, much more than just beating Demetrious Johnson. I have a lot to prove. So I've stayed quiet. I stayed off social media. I rarely announced anything. I announced that I'm having a baby, and that's about it. I don't need to play into social media right now. That's not what I'm here to do. Social media will come after I win the belt. So I'm just focused on one thing and one thing only.
Congratulations on the baby. When are you expecting?
I think we're expecting probably sometime around May and June. My wife has her first appointment next week. So, we'll find out then. Wow.
That is crazy. Yeah. Amazing time. And what a crazy month it has been for you with that news, which obviously supersedes everything. And of course, the drama of 215 and all that. Was there any fear in your mind that they wouldn't give you the title shot? Like, were you worried? Because, I mean, even if you say the doctor said that you were not fit to fight, there is a chance that they could be like, oh, we'll go with Sergio or Henry. Was there any fear at all? Or did they tell you up front right away that you're getting the title shot no matter what?
Oh, of course there was fear, man. I mean, why do you think I was so bummed out about this? Like, this is like something I've literally been working my whole life to, like literally like since the age I'm only 24, but I've been in this game a very, very long time since I was 13. When I got in this game when I was 13, I was in this game. I wasn't taking beginner karate classes or jiu-jitsu classes. I was in this fight game at 13. So, to work this hard and get to the point where I want to be, when this happened, of course, why do you think I wanted to toughen through it? Because of course I didn't know whether or not I was going to get this shot. The turn of events took a very, very hard turn, and it was just a shit day, a shit week, and I had no clue what was going to go on. And that's what, I was just moping around my hotel room for like 3 days because I don't know what's going on. They could have very, very well, Henry Cejudo looked good that night. They could have been like, oh, well, let's give Henry Cejudo another crack at it. Or Sergio just beat Moreno. Let's just give him a crack at it. But, I'm very blessed and very fortunate to still have the opportunity to go in there and face Demetrious Johnson October 7th.
Did you go to 215? Did you go to the card?
Not at all. I stayed in my hotel room.
What was it like? Because it's not like you're at home and you can kind of hide away from people. You're in the UFC fighter hotel. There's tons of people there. What, did you not leave your room, or did you walk around and people are coming up to you? What was it like being in there for those couple days?
It was honestly like if I'd be at home sick. I mean, like I legitimately was sick. So I spent all weekend just laying in my bed, trying to feel better, pumping medicine down my throat and, taking, Theraflu and things like that, hydrating a little bit, just trying to feel better just so I can go home and plan for what's to come. So I just stayed in my hotel room, relaxed with my wife, my brother, and I just try to get better. I try not to pay too much attention on what happened that night because it would have just depressed me even more. But you know what, it is what it is, and I got through it.
So you say that you have something to prove, not just about, winning the belt, but you have something to prove on October 7th. What do you mean by that? Do you have something to prove to the people? Like, let's be honest, the stretch over the last couple of years, you've had some, some pullouts, some last minute pullouts, things like that. Is that what you mean by just getting to the fight and showing up, by making the weight? What do you mean when you say you have something to prove more so than just winning the belt?
I have something to prove to myself more than anybody else. I can give a damn what anybody else thinks about me. I have to prove to myself that I can compete with Demetrious Johnson and beat Demetrious Johnson. And, you know, given what I need to prove to myself is that I can take all this unfortunate luck that's happened to me. You know, that's one thing that people don't understand is everything that's happened to me goes way deeper than what people understand. People see it from the outside surface, you know, everyone in the media, you guys all see it from the outside surface. You guys don't see it from the internal surface, what really goes down. And, you know, it's been a really, really rough ride. You know, I had a great streak. Everything was going good. And then life happened, really. Life took an unfortunate turn for me. You know, I had some issues in life, some family drama, things like that. And it just, you know, along with the whole fight, you know, my fight luck, it was just shit. So I have to go in there and prove to myself that I can take everything that everyone's saying about me, everything that's happened in the last year, put it the fuck behind me and keep trucking forward. That's all I care about. People can say what they want. I really don't care. This is to me that I can have the ability, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day, is having the ability to take everything that happened in the past, put it behind you and keep moving forward and not dwell on it, and not let the fans make you feel like shit because this happened and this happened and this happened. Great. Look at how many times that happened. You know, look what happened to Kevin Gastelum. Go Wikipedia Kevin Gastelum. Go Wikipedia, you know, John Lineker. And you know, what did they do? They put it behind them and they kept moving forward. You know, they had some weight cutting issues. They've had to pull out of fights. Ian McCall has, you know, had health issues and had to pull out of fights last minute. But, you know, it's all about just keep trucking forward. And that's what I have to prove to myself.
Do you feel like that, you know, that bad luck is gone? Those dark clouds are gone? Or do you have to actually fight to sort of get out of that?
I think it's gone. I think mentally it's gone. It's just still having to fight my way out of that hole. I'm in a hole right now with whoever it may be. I don't even know who, the UFC, the fans, whatever. I'm in a hole right now. And it's about just climbing out of that fucking hole. You know, I feel like it's past. I have a different approach going into UFC 216. I have a different approach going into life. And, you know, I'm very comfortable with where I'm at mentally. So it's just staying strong and climbing out of that hole and, you know, showing everybody that I am here to stay. And there's a reason why I'm here. And there's a reason why I was chosen to fight DJ. And there's a reason why you shouldn't sleep on me.
So you say that you have a different approach. Like, what's the difference between the approach right now, less than 2 weeks away, than less than 2 weeks away from 215? How have things changed over the past few weeks?
Honestly, you know, sorry for the language, but being a fucking fighter, I personally felt like I got caught too much on it being a professional sport. Yes, we are a professional sport. We do get compensated for fighting, but at the end of the day, it is a fucking fight. At the end of the day, we go in there and we fight each other. We punch each other in the face. We are trying to kill each other in a cage. And it's remembering that that's what got me to the show, is remembering that this is a fight. You know, you can do this, you can do that. You could be Sage Northcutt. You can have the coolest fucking hair in the world, the most chiseled body. You could be, you know, Paige Van Zandt, the most marketable person in the world. But at the very end of the day, it's still about winning fights. And that's my approach going forward. That's the mindset I used to have, was just going in there like a dog and willing to fight and let everything coming to me rather than me running to everything.
So you feel like in the last, you know, few months you were treating it like too professionally, like you were just this polished athlete, and now you have to go back to being this raw fighter?
You know what, personally for me, yes. You know, some fighters can get away with that. Some people can play that superstar mentality that, you know, this is a sport and I'm the highest level. But like I said, I'll sound like a fucking broken record. This is a fight game. This is the fight business. To be honest, I miss when fighting was more fighting. And that, in my mentality, that's what it is for me. It's fighting, you know. I'm going in there to fight, win or lose, man. You want to know the reality of it is that every fighter has every confidence that they're going to beat who's in front of them. But at the end of the day, you have to be a realist and know that things can't go your way. I know damn well things can't go my way for DJ. DJ knows damn well that things may not go his way. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give Demetrious a dogfight. He is going to have to, if he wants that 11th title victory, he is going to have to work for it, because I'm going to be in his face nonstop trying to win. And if not, you know what? That's all right, because I gave him a dogfight, and that's it. And I'm looking to go in there and win. So at the end of the day, this is fighting for me.
By the way, DJ told us that he saw you on the plane ride home and you guys didn't talk at all. Did you not feel compelled to say anything to him, to reach out to him?
Yeah, you know what? No. So the thing is, like I said, I'm a realist. One, I wasn't feeling good at all. I really wasn't. And two, DJ has a family to feed just as much as I do. And not only did I take away my opportunity to be the pound-for-pound greatest person in the world, I also took away his opportunity to potentially break a record, you know? And I actually have respect for DJ as a fighter and as a person. So it was hard for me to go up to him. And what am I supposed to say? You know, I don't ever go up to just any of my opponents and be like, oh, hey, you know, how's it going? How's life? You know, like I said, it is a fight game. It's not that easy. You know, you always feel a certain way towards someone when they're trying to take food out of, you know, your family's mouth. But it was more of just me really not feeling good, me not mentally feeling up to talk to him. You know, I felt bad myself taking his opportunity away just as much as I took my opportunity away. So, you know, I knew that we'd meet again, and we'll handle it then.
Last thing, are you okay with the placement on the card? This isn't the main event anymore. It's the co-main event to the interim title fight. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I could fight at the beginning of the night. They could put our title fight the very first fight of the night, and it don't matter to me. And the thing is the reason why I didn't look too heavily on it is because UFC 215 was built for us. We were the main event. We were the fight pushed. They just so happened to squeeze us into UFC 216 because this fight was already supposed to happen. So I'm just grateful to be on the card and to be able to still get this opportunity. You know, the fact that it's a co-main event, I don't care. You know, like I said, I'll earn my way back up to that main event if I have to. That's okay with me. I'm not going to bitch and cry like, oh, I didn't fight UFC 215 and I was a main event. Why the fuck didn't they put me on the main event of UFC 216? No, I'm not going to cry about it. You know, I'll earn my way back up to that main event, and I'm very grateful the UFC, you know, put us on 216 to begin with.
Do you wish you had a little more time, or is October 7th okay? Is it a proper amount of time to feel healthy and get back ready for the title fight?
No, I don't need more time at all. You know, I was at the very, very, you know, best condition of my life. You know, I had never been in that type of shape in my life. I'd never been that lean. I've never been that light in my life. So, you know, the biggest thing was just getting over the sickness. You know, I took the proper time. My coaching staff, more importantly, my coaching staff were the key to everything. Because honestly, me personally, I was so mind boggled and so stressed out about this. I would have got off the plane and started training just because of how pissed I was. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting another chance, whatever. I'm going to make it worth my while. But my coaching staff were the ones that pulled back the reins. They're like, look, Ray, you are sick. You need to go home. You need a rest. Don't leave your house. Just relax. So I did what they told me. I got healthy. I got better. And, you know, for me, this is very new, going through a whole fight camp, fight week, and then jumping into a fight 3 weeks later like this, and not fighting and then jumping back into a fight 3 weeks later. This is very new to me. So I am very grateful to have the coaching staff that I do. You know, Greg Jackson even told me this isn't his first rodeo. You know, he had to do this situation before, so he knows how to train me. So I'm still peaking, you know, things like that. My strength and conditioning coach, same thing. I'm just very fortunate to have the coaching staff that I have behind me to make sure that I am properly still equipped to go into UFC 216.
I wish you the best, Ray. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this. Good luck in the next couple of weeks preparing for the fight. And, of course, good luck at UFC 216. Looking forward to seeing you out there. And, again, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks, Ariel. I appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Ray Borg, stopping by. He meets Demetrious Johnson on October 7th at UFC 216, the co-main event, right under the Kevin Lee versus Tony Ferguson interim lightweight title fight.